Here's a very practical tip. When it comes to finding a chiropractor for yourself, for your family, make sure that they have the capacity to tell you you don't need an adjustment today, right? That's a foreign concept, right? It's a foreign concept for you to go to a chiropractor's office and not be adjusted. Hello and welcome. This is Dr. Pablo of Manifest Chiropractic. Today we're going to be discussing about what chiropractic is actually, what it is not, and ultimately how this information can add life and value to you and your family. So chiropractic is a relatively young thing. It was discovered in 1895 and now it's 2025 and there's really a whole lot of confusion about what chiropractic is, when to utilize it, and what it's actually for. So today we're clearing that up. And this matters because if you, the listener, your friends, your family, or loved ones don't hear about this, well, you could be missing out on some life-changing care, okay? So what really inspired this topic was a real life scenario. I was at a marketing event for our practice, and a mom and a daughter, they came up to our booth, kind of wide-eyed, looking curious, and they're like, is this machines, lasers, or you guys do TENS units or vibration guns? And I looked at her with a very straight face and said, this is none of that. This is actually chiropractic. And it was kind of a challenging moment for this person because they understood what they thought to be chiropractic. And here I am, a chiropractor, telling them, hey, that's not the case. And so that inspired this chat. And that person, they shared with me that their experience with chiropractic was interesting. They heated her up, they cooled her down, they shook her around, vibrated, massage gunned, everything, but almost no chiropractic. And so this was a very revealing moment, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. There's a lot of confusion, even in all the 50 states, right? Every state has different legislation which says what a chiropractor can and can't do. So we'll clear that up today. Again, 1895, chiropractic began, and it was discovered and developed by the Palmers, a father and son, who at the time it was originated, healthcare was absolutely horrific, right? So the healthcare that people were used to, right? Things like arsenic, mercury, poisons being put into the body, bloodletting, they're going to drain your blood so you can get well, leeches, they would use cocaine, opium, heroin, again, cocaine, opium, and heroin, trying to restore health to the body. So there was really a large demand for a new approach to healthcare. And so that's when chiropractic was made. That's when the philosophy, the science, and the art of chiropractic was developed at a time of great need, right? And so with that development, it was a new idea. It was a new concept of health, of how health was lost. And ultimately, this is the value for you of how health is restored and gained back to you, right? So now we fast forward about 130 years, it's 2025. With chiropractic, with where we're at, we have, ASMR, cracking videos. You've got chiropractors doing physical therapy, nutrition therapy, weight loss, you name it, and we're doing it, right? And since its inception in 1895, there have been people coming into chiropractic and mixing it and muddling it around with other things. And so its identity is really confused, and the public is confused as well. So the Palmers, the originators, they were very clear about what chiropractic is and what it was not. So that's what we're clearing up today. And what it is, it's very simple. It is the location, analyzation, and correction of vertebral subluxation. Okay? Period. That's what it is. I'll say it again. Location, analyzation, correction of vertebral subluxation. Now in English, basically what that means is finding pressure in the nervous system and adjusting it when it's necessary. And that nervous system is the master control system of your body, right? That's what it is. That's what it was. Now, moving forward, I will preface and mention that chiropractic, just like any other profession out there, has its own lexicon, its own vernacular, basically its own words that it uses, right? If you imagine you go and you have coffee with an attorney, and the attorney starts talking to you about affidavits and indemnification, right? You'd probably be pretty confused. Today we're speaking English and we're going to clear that up. Let's start from the beginning, and I have a chart here that we can use to basically explain what's going on. So that is what chiropractic is. We have first location and analysis, second correction, and third is vertebral subluxation. Now the goal of today, we're going to be breaking it down and making it make sense, right? Making this make sense. And so what is vertebral subluxation? So we are going to start from the bottom, number 3. So a vertebral subluxation is when a joint in your spine or a bone, it becomes dysfunctional to the extent that it affects the communication between your brain and your body. Okay? Now, why is that important? It's a dysfunctional joint that causes pressure on a nerve. Why does that matter? Well, it matters to you and to me because the nervous system is the master control system of the body. It is the first system that gets developed in an embryo when a baby is developing, and it controls and coordinates every function in the body from A to Z, right? And so your brain sits up there in this skull, and it communicates to the rest of your body via the spinal cord and the nerves, which are housed and protected by your spine. And these bones move. It's a highway communication system. If these messages going back and forth can't get to where they need to go, or there's interference or miscommunication between your brain and your body, you can, logically kind of conclude what that does to the body, right? Not the best thing. And so that is what a vertebral subluxation is. Moving down into the second one. So we have correction, right? This is where the fun stuff begins. So a correction is a specific force applied to a vertebral subluxation to allow the body to make an adjustment. And that's what that is. So this is where chiropractors kind of differ in their application because there are many ways of doing this, but many ways to skin a cat. But the point of it is, the point of a correction is to restore proper function to a joint in order that the brain and the body can properly communicate. Okay, so what do you think will happen if the brain and the nervous system, the nervous system and the body, what do you think will happen when it can communicate properly? Well, if the nervous system controls everything and it can communicate properly, then we should expect that the body will function properly. You will be healthy, right? And so as far as that vertebral subluxation, correction is the second component of what chiropractic actually is. And actually, let me mention that a correction of a subluxation is not a gross manipulative movement, right? It's not a rack'em crack'em type of procedure, right? It's also not done to a normal, healthy joint, right? So if you go in and start getting your back cracked from top to bottom, there's a lot of healthy joints in your spine that really don't need to be moved. That's what we would call a manipulation instead of a specific correction, a specific adjustment. And so it comes down to that first component of all of this, of what chiropractic is, which is location and analysis, right? So this is basically checking of the neurospinal system, looking for the presence or the absence of a vertebral subluxation. And if there is one, what is the nature of it, right? That's what you're looking for. And so if you notice, we started from the bottom and we worked our way up to the top, which is basically searching and finding. This is really important because it will basically let you know, as a chiropractor, as a patient, it will let you know when you need an adjustment, when chiropractic care is necessary, and also when it is not, right? Again, application is different. There's lots of different ways to skin a cat. As a patient, you're looking for a doctor who is checking for subluxations. They're going to do, leg checks, pressure checks. They may test your muscles, the strength of your muscles. Now, as a Gonstead chiropractor, I feel inclined to share that I believe the gold standard of chiropractic care, of location and analysis, of finding, is going to be x-ray analysis as well as temperature instruments, right? So those I believe are the gold standard, and that's because an x-ray is basically the map of you. It lets me know where you've been. It lets me know where we need to be, how we need to adjust, and the temperature instrument lets me know what's going on underneath the surface. So it's not just about joints that hurt or joints that are stuck, right? A temperature instrument lets us know where is the pressure. The x-ray lets us know how to correct it. So I had to throw that in there. Now, here's a very practical tip. Basically, when it comes to finding a chiropractor for yourself, for your family, make sure that they have the capacity to tell you you don't need an adjustment today, right? That's a foreign concept, right? It's a foreign concept for you to go to a chiropractor's office and not be adjusted. But it's important. That's where you're going to gain the most value for yourself, for your family. So, full circle moment, right? If a chiropractic analysis, if a search, an investigation, if you will, if a analysis is done and no subluxation is found, right? Well, that lets us know that there's no chiropractic care needed. There's no adjustment needed, which is a really good thing as far as living a long, healthy life, not just symptom free, but actually functioning well, which is ultimately where the value is. Now, why is all of this important? It's important because you need to know what this is for yourself, for your family, so that you know when you should be checked by a chiropractor, when you should not be checked by a chiropractor, what it is, when to utilize it, and also when other avenues of care might be more productive for you, more beneficial for yourself or for your family. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you guys so much for your attention watching this, if you're watching it. Let me know if you have questions, comments, and I look forward to giving you guys more value, more education. So thank you guys. Have a blessed one.